I'm coming, buddy. I know. I got you, buddy. I got you. Come on, buddy. Come here. Come here. It's okay. It's okay, buddy. You'll be all right. Ow! All right. So some time ago, I had 5 patients, 4 new moms, 1 new dad, all with the same chief complaint, which was this DeQuervain syndrome, right, or tenosynovitis. Some call it mommy's thumb, some call it baby thumb. For dads that are more involved with the infants these days, you can call it daddy's thumb. It really doesn't matter. But they all had the same chief complaint, right? It hurts right here. And what I wanted to do in this video is go over some anatomy, go over some symptoms and signs, also some tests and treatment options. And I also want to explore the idea of expanding the chief complaint in a way that helps you build more rapport and trust with the patient, which then hopefully on top of your results translates into more referrals so that you can help more people and grow your practice. All right, let's do it. So here's the basic anatomy. We got the extensor retinaculum, the abductor pollicis longus, as well as extensor pollicis brevis and longus. And we also have these synovial sheaths which go over these tendons near the retinaculum. And they basically do abduction, extension, and stability, and pain is usually just proximal to the styloid process of the radius and base of the thumb. Activities of daily living like writing or typing, texting, even picking up a cup of coffee can be uncomfortable. All right, now some examination. So, of course, we want to take a look, compare one side to the other, palpate around the areas and see what's painful and what's not. Usually it's going to be the extensor pollicis brevis or longus, and sometimes the abductor pollicis longus. When looking at a range of motion, any of these positions could be uncomfortable for them as they go through the motions, but what usually lights up for them is Finkelstein's test. In my experience, the one that lights up the most is the extensor pollicis brevis, located here. There we go. And needling for it is usually pretty superficial. It's not far away. And E-stem, usually with the handheld, is 10 hertz continuous. And then with the clip-ons, usually 2 hertz continuous. Some other points to consider would be a couple on the extensor retinaculum, the extensor pollicis longus, as well as the abductor pollicis longus, again right in the belly. And then there's an acupuncture point that's in between the first metacarpal and the trapezium, in between extensor pollicis brevis and longus. That's large intestine 5. There it is. As well as lung 7, just proximal to the radial styloid process. After treatment, I usually like to do some tuina or some manual therapy within their tolerance. I could also use some gua sha or ISTM, instrument-assisted soft tissue mobilization. And I also like to put some tape on it to help with the benefits last while they're at home and in use. Yes. So let's talk about expanding this idea of the chief complaint. And I think intuitively we all know that our patients are more than just their pain, severity, and their range of motion. But sometimes being a new practitioner, maybe new to ortho, we can get a little bit of tunnel vision and just like, am I asking the right questions? Am I doing the right tests? Am I doing the right treatment? And sometimes we can forget the human aspect of it, if you will. And what I mean by that is I'm borrowing an idea from Donald Miller, who is the author of Story Brand, which is a marketing book. And you might think like, well, what the hell does marketing have to do with baby's thumb? And as it turns out, he's got this great idea of taking customers' pain points and categorizing them into three sections, which are external, internal, and philosophical. And philosophical to him is just what is considered meaningful to that particular customer or patient. So for our example, the external is easy, right? Wrist and thumb pain. The internal problem is how they felt about it. And the two most common feelings these patients had were a fear of dropping their baby, right? Picking them up out of the crib. Their wrist hurts, oh my God, it hurts, I don't want to drop my kid. And also frustration because they were unable to care for their kid the way that they wanted to, which leads into the philosophical or the meaningful part, because all of these patients also had conveyed that they felt to some extent a failure as a parent, right? Especially new parents. And it's like, oh man, I can't hold my baby or feed my baby as much as I want to, and it makes me feel shitty, right? So their ideas of parenthood are getting challenged. And so part of the idea here is to have the patient feel heard, feel seen, and feel understood, right? I think, we don't need a double-blind placebo-controlled study to tell us we all want that, right? And so this is a great way of doing that. It can help build rapport. It can help build trust. They will feel cared for on top of the results that you get from your treatment. And a tip of implementing this would be right after you've done all your questioning and your intake and your tests, and before you get into the treatment, you can do a quick summary, without getting into without it turning into a therapy session. You can hit all three of these points. And it would look something like this. Okay, I've heard your story. I've done the tests. I got a great idea of what's going on here. I have a lot of experience and success with it. And this is what I would like to do. I'd like to see you twice a week for 2 to 3 weeks. We're going to do some acupuncture, some manual therapy, and I'm going to put some tape on it to help in between treatments so that you can feel better, so you can have less worry about caring for your kid, and you can get back to parenting the way that you want to. How does that sound? As opposed to, okay, I know what's going on. It's called DeQuervain syndrome. We're going to do these points for it. I'd like to see you 2 times a week for 2 to 3 weeks, and let's see how it goes. All right. It basically says the same thing, but you could see where the person, when you hit all 3 of those categories, would feel better about it, right? It'd be more meaningful to them. So all of this with the idea to get results, build rapport and trust, so that when these people are out in the world and acupuncture comes up in conversation as it does, instead of them saying, oh yeah, you should try acupuncture, it worked really great for me, but instead they'll say something like this: oh, you should go see whatever your name is, because not only did they really help me with my wrist, but I felt so cared for and I really trust them. You should really go see that person. So you can see how this can also translate into possibly more referrals, which would turn into more opportunities for you to help more people and to grow your practice. All right, that is it. I hope you found this useful. I hope you find it useful for your patients, and I hope it helps to grow your practice. All right, until next time.
Whatever you do, don't drop the baby. Whatever you do, don't drop the baby. Whatever you do, don't drop the baby. The baby is small. The baby needs love.